So you have a great piece out at the Daily Signal right now about this rogue prosecutor in Fairfax County, Virginia. So let's start with some definitions. What exactly makes a prosecutor rogue in your opinion?
Well, it's somebody who fails to follow his role as a prosecutor and to uphold the rule of law. It's someone who's decided to unilaterally not enforce duly enacted laws that the state legislature has passed. It is somebody who seeks to fundamentally transform our current criminal justice system to something that, frankly, none of us would recognize.
So talk to me a little bit about this case, the Mother's Day nightmare, as your article puts it, about this car accident in Fairfax County, Virginia, since I think it really gets to the heart of this issue we're talking about with these rogue prosecutors.
Well, unfortunately, it really highlights a larger issue with Steve Descano's office and the rogue prosecutor movement in general. They're really focused on coddling criminals in a lot of ways rather than upholding the rule of law and focusing on victims' rights. And so, unfortunately, in this case where the drunk driver struck a mother and her three children, it's really the fact that in a lot of these offices, victims are slipping through the cracks despite their rights that are guaranteed under Virginia state law and other state laws around the country. And so it's part of a larger issue where these rogue prosecutors really seek to, again, fundamentally transform the criminal justice system, undermine the rule of law, and in the process, make their communities less safe.
When I was reading the piece, I was just so heartbroken for this mother who, what it seems to be, was intentionally attacked by this man who had, I believe, empty beer cans in his car, so he may have been drinking. He purposely turns into her vehicle, T-bones her. It could have been a fatal accident. She had three children with her, and of course, then you see the DA's office. They did not inform themselves of the case. They let it go for many, many months without even getting back in touch with this poor woman. It's just heartbreaking to read, and now we're seeing that they're releasing a list of crimes, misdemeanors that they're no longer going to be actively pursuing, actively prosecuting. And it includes stealing or shoplifting up to $1,000, rioting, resisting arrest, filing a false police report. How does this make anyone safer?
Well, it really doesn't. And unfortunately, this isn't limited to Steve Descano in Fairfax County. Rachel Rollins, the Boston DA, released of 15 crimes you can now commit in Boston and not be prosecuted. And just to give you an example, according to Rachel Rollins' own list, a violent felon could break into your house, be in possession of cocaine, intend to sell that cocaine, and then resist arrest when the police arrive and not be prosecuted for any of those crimes. It's really absurd when you think about it. Again, it undermines the rule of law and makes all of us, especially those in those communities, less safe at the end of the day.
And of course, when Descano, he gets these criticisms, part of his answer is to say, well, I'm understaffed here in my county. However, that's only partially true, is it?
Well, he's certainly more leanly staffed than other district attorneys' offices around the country. But the fact is, until Steve Descano took office, the Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney's Office had always prosecuted misdemeanor cases, and these 22 misdemeanors that he now says he will not prosecute. So it certainly seems like a convenient excuse and really is questionable given his campaign statements and the other actions he's taken since he's been in office.
And one of the patterns that we've seen now nationwide with a lot of these soft on crime or rogue prosecutors, however you'd like to describe it, is a lot of them are being backed by George Soros and other far left progressive movements. If you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. George Soros is really a driving force behind this movement. And again, to give you an example, just this past election cycle, he donated approximately $2 million to Kim Foxx's reelection campaign in Chicago. He gave almost $1.7 million to Larry Krasner in Philadelphia to help him get elected. And so there's just literally millions and millions of dollars being poured into these races by George Soros, by Kerry Tuna, Brian Moskowitz, who have ties to Facebook. And so it's really a larger movement. It's one that's looking to expand across the country, not only in urban areas, but in rural areas as well. And unfortunately, I think it's here to stay with us for a while. And it's very important for people to understand that these rogue prosecutors seek to undermine the rule of law and really radically and fundamentally transform our criminal justice system.